Is it really true that the deputy president's campaign for the presidency in 2022 is in serious trouble? Is it really true that Raila Odinga, the mysterious one, Agwambo, has totally changed the game? Now, in my view, to take in this particular video, and if you really want to know the truth, you need to cool down your emotions of support for either of the candidates. That is the only way you will arrive at the truth, in case you're interested in arriving at the truth. A quick reminder, please. My latest offer on my weekly intelligence briefings, the Mashujaa Day Special, is ending today at midnight, Kenyan time. So please rush and take advantage of it. Details in the description area below. Go for it. I highly recommend it if you're not yet a subscriber. Now on to today's show. And I strongly advise that you stick with me till the end, because I'm going to point you to some information, actually a prediction I made some months back, that now seems to be unfolding. And it is all about a mistake, a very grave strategic mistake that was made by the deputy president's camp. That is now coming back to haunt DP Ruto. Karibu sana to my show today, and as usual, enjoy. A political analyst that I respect has declared the downfall of Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. And of course, I'm talking about Professor Herman Manyora. And in case you've not taken in that video, I've included a link to it in the description area below this video on YouTube. In fact, in that video, the professor said it is very unlikely that the deputy president will be able to recover from this. Bottom line, the 2022 presidential elections are over. We already have our winner. That's what he was really saying. Now, one of the things that makes politics very exciting, very interesting and fascinating to follow is the fact that anything can happen. There are way too many twists and turns and very unexpected developments. And so, in my view, it is a little early to write off the deputy president. But I agree with a lot of what the professor says. Indeed, if you look at our political scene currently, and you do it without emotion that favors one of the candidates, then you will realize that things have changed dramatically since Raila Odinga came into the game and started campaigning aggressively. Of course, initially using his Azimio la Umoja initiative. The objective being to unite the country. Now, I find it super fascinating that Raila Odinga decided to start his aggression with the places in the country where his campaign would have a problem, or where many people predicted he would have a problem. Mount Kenya region and the Rift Valley. And both regions have been perceived to be strongholds of his main opponent, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Perhaps the most dramatic dismantling of that perception was in the Mount Kenya region. When you really think about it, what has happened in the Mount Kenya region is that the deputy president has provoked the region's bigwigs to fully side with Raila Odinga. Let me explain. It seems that most Kenyans have forgotten that the bigwigs in the Mount Kenya region, and especially the House of Mumbi, have many issues with the deputy president. Top on the list is the situation concerning members of the House of Mumbi residing in the Rift Valley. It would seem that handlers of the deputy president believed that this is an issue that can go away. It is now very clear that that is not the case. And because of this thorny issue, the bigwigs, the big boys, the big money in central Kenya and the Mount Kenya region are terrified over William Samoei Ruto presidency. Many of these bigwigs are older Kenyans, and therefore it is very fresh on their minds how this whole crisis started at the tail end of the Moi presidency. And so in their minds, it can be easily escalated to another level if we have another presidency from the Rift Valley. It is that simple. And so, there is clearly some urgency amongst them to ensure that the next president of Kenya, the fifth president, does not hail from the Rift Valley at all costs. Cyrus Njirongo made it very clear when he gave a speech in front of these very bigwigs recently. I will remind you what he said. He said that he had been puzzled. He had been asking himself, why was there so much concern over the presidency this time round? And then he answered his own question. He said that those old men were very concerned about developments on our political scene. And in his speech, he made it very clear what the concern was. Bottom line, the moves in the Mount Kenya region are simply because they fear a William Samoei Ruto presidency much more than they fear a Raila Odinga presidency. And as we know, fear is the kind of emotion that causes a human to react very quickly and with a lot of urgency. And that is exactly what we are seeing unfolding in Mount Kenya. And the result has been that Raila Odinga has swept through the region. And it is now looking very clear that in fact, the person who will win that region in terms of the most votes for them will not be the deputy president after all. It is possible to create any narrative you want to counter this. After all, that is the currency of politicians. However, the truth is, this seems to be a done deal. And unless something very dramatic happens between now and the general elections, it is unlikely that the deputy president will have any major impact in the Mount Kenya region. And there's something else. The deputy president has a soft underbelly in this particular region. Let me explain. In the last general elections, we were told that there was massive rigging in the Jubilee primaries in the Mount Kenya region. Many very popular politicians were left out in the cold. What that means is that the politicians in the Mount Kenya region supporting the deputy president were all handpicked. They owe their position to to the deputy president. And no wonder they're so loyal. But what do you think will happen when we go back to the ground and bitter memories of what happened in 2017 are reignited and the popular politicians come back to reclaim what was theirs in the first place? Yeah, but they were shortchanged. What do you think that will do to the deputy president's bid for the presidency? You tell me. A lot has been said about aging Raila Odinga. Many have written him off. Others have said that he's too old now. Well, over the last 2 weeks, we have received the response to all that from Raila Odinga. And it is a response that has sent shockwaves in Deputy President William Samoei Ruto's camp. I believe it will take a very long time for the mammoth crowd that greeted Raila Odinga in Eldoret, in the stronghold, in fact at the heart of the stronghold of the deputy president. It will take a very long time for that nightmare to go away from the deputy president's camp. Of course, the mammoth crowd, as I said in an earlier video, will not translate into the same number of votes. However, it will still yield a sizable number of votes, very unexpected actually, for Raila Odinga in Eldoret. Granted, Eldoret is a very cosmopolitan town. They are members of many other communities from Kenya, some of whom have been bullied in the past to vote in a certain way. But with the new Raila wave in the region, these individuals have a chance of actually voting with their hearts for the first time, instead of voting for survival. I believe you know what I mean. And then all indications are that the hustler wheelbarrow narrative is being quickly swallowed by the 6,000 bob a month cash transfers initiative to the unemployed by Raila Odinga. If you still haven't seen this, give it a little more time and it will become very clear to you. Simply put, if you give me money to start a business, that business may fail or succeed. But if you give me a monthly allowance to organize myself, to sort out my financial mess, that is much more predictable and much more viable. And there's something else. Hard work is not in the blood of all Kenyans. Indeed, it may not be in the blood of the vast majority of voters. Bottom line, I tend to agree with the good professor that the campaign of Deputy President William Samoei Ruto is in serious trouble. As to whether it will recover or not, only time can tell. Now, for those who want to study politics a little more deeply, the biggest mistake, strategic mistake the Deputy President made was to fight the BBI. Now, I know a lot of you don't support the BBI, and this is not about the good or the bad of the BBI. No, it is about a strategic political mistake. Now, I did a video very early on, in fact, before the final verdict on the BBI came from the Court of Appeal. And in that video, I predicted that the Deputy President would regret fighting the BBI. I highly recommend you take in this video and find out exactly why I said that, because it is unfolding right now before our very eyes. Now, I believe there's a link at the top right hand corner of your screens right now. Click on that video and go to it. I assure you, it is most fascinating and it will open your eyes in very many ways. The same link is repeated in the description area below. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.